Hello, YouTube audience. A lot of my videos are, you might argue that they lean more towards the serious side, because I think it's important to help people out, make them aware of what's going on, and it's things that are, important in my mind. On this video, I thought I would have a little fun and tell a story, a true story of what happened to me. This video is called The Day I Tackled a Naked Man. Okay, so anyway, it goes like this. Back when I was right around 30, it was a sunny Sunday afternoon, about 2 p.m., and back in the days of VHS tapes, which some of you may remember, I was heading to take a tape that I had rented back, and just as I was getting to the parking lot where I had rented it from, I noticed something unusual. There was a cop car in front of me, and I saw his lights come on, and I couldn't tell why he was turning them on. My first thought was, okay, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden I saw this man. He was about 5'11" or 6 foot, about 265 pounds. He was walking down the sidewalk, and the only thing he had on was a pair of shoes. That is it. Sunday afternoon, sunny day. So I pull in the lot where I'm going to take my videotape back, and right from the get-go, I could tell that this guy, he was like wild-eyed, and it wasn't going to be a simple deal where the cop says stop and then the cop takes care of it. I could tell right away that this was going to be an interesting scenario. Well, I had seen videos before where people would get to struggling with a cop, and sometimes they would try to go for their weapon and use it against the cop. And this cop, he was there by himself, and he weighed about 150 pounds. And my thought was, well, I'm going to watch this thing unfold and see what happens, because it's something you don't see every day. But I had in the back of my mind, I was like, if for some reason this cop gets into some trouble, at least I can kind of be there on standby just in case. And lo and behold, the cop got into some kind of trouble. The cop's commanding the guy to stop, and the guy's not listening, trying to take the wide way around the cop and everything. The cop's like, hey, you stop right there, you hold it. And you could just see the look in the guy's eyes, what they call the 1,000-yard stare. It's like they're not looking at you, their eyes are going all the way past you into some other world, and the guy, when the cop told the guy to stop, the guy comes up and makes a gesture like he's about ready to lay into the cop. And I yelled at the guy. I said, don't even think about it. Trying to kind of let that guy know, hey, the cops might have some help if you, get carried away. And then he starts to go towards the cop, and the cop grabs his mace. It was obvious the guy wasn't hiding a weapon anywhere, most likely, no clothes on. The cop grabs the mace, and he goes, psh. I like to throw this little disclaimer in this part of the story because it's important. If you ever have to mace someone, don't just give a quick little spritz of it and be done with it, because that's not always good enough to get the job done. If you ever have to mace someone, you got a whole bottle. If you have to, use that whole bottle. Once you decided to use mace, you pull it up, you aim in that face, and you let her go. Fill him up. Because when he maced that guy and he did like a half of a second spritz, the guy shook his head, he drew his arms back, and he started swinging on the cop. And every swing was barely missing the cop's face, and the cop was pulling his head back and trying to walk backwards at the same time, and every swing was barely missing the cop. And so what I did is I said, well, this guy's really big. If we get hand to hand and he gets them big mitts on me, he might do some damage to me, and I don't want that. So I was like, what can I do? And I got to thinking, well, he's heavy, and that would be a disadvantage if he's on the ground. Heavy people ain't going to move fast when they're down on the ground, but people who are in shape are. So I run up behind him, and I took my hands and I pushed on his back pretty hard. And at that time, I was exercising a lot. He went like that. He didn't come off his feet. He turned around and looked at me like he was about ready to give me the what for. And then the cop yelled at him, and it turned his attention back towards the cop again. And then I said to myself, self, that didn't work. He didn't go off his feet. I was like, I need to get those legs, and I need to take those legs literally out from under him. I need to force those legs out. So what I did is I ran up behind him. Now, the way I recall the story, I thought that I had grabbed one leg. I'll get into that later. I ran up behind him, and I grabbed a leg, and I drove up, and I drove forward with everything I had, and I saw him like a tree. Bounce. Did one nice little bounce with his head. And I remember thinking, now he hit the ground, that'll give the policeman time to go ahead and run over there and cuff him. No sooner than I had finished having that thought roll through my head, I suddenly found myself going on top of him. It's like it wasn't me doing it. It's like I was watching a movie. It must have been adrenaline or something. But I ran over there, and I dropped down, and I put the entire weight of my body into my knee and just buried it right on his shoulder. So we had like about 184 pounds right on his shoulder. There was no standing up from that point. And then the cop comes over from this way, and he's like, do you think we can get him over on his belly? Because the cop wanted to get the hands behind his back and handcuff him. At this point, my adrenaline is like, boom, it's in turbo mode, and I can't slow down, and I don't want to slow down. And I'm like, yeah, and then I grabbed this arm, and I leaned my whole body into it, and I had been doing a lot of back rowing workouts. I had been doing deadlifts, which helped me when I grabbed his leg, and I grabbed that arm, and I went, get over on your belly, and I yanked with everything I had, and I pulled my whole body into it. And sure enough, that apple dumpling rolled over right on his belly. And then I took that arm and I put it behind his back. And then the police officer, I still know his name, Officer Badowski, even though we never had more than 2 sentences. He took his other arm, brought it up, cuffed him. Then right about the time we were cuffing him, 3 dudes from the Jiffy Lube place, they come out, and then they decide they want a part of it once I'm on top of him and the policeman is starting to follow suit. Then the 3 of them come up and they stand around him and maybe put a foot right there against him and stuff. And so the next day I went to the gym, and there was a female police officer that I knew from the gym. And I had started to tell her the story of what happened, and she's like, that was you? And I go, yeah. She's like, we were talking about that at the station yesterday. And so she had me write down my name and address and stuff, and the North District commander at Indianapolis Police, he sent me on an official letterhead, a thank you letter for helping. And I saved it, and I've gotten all kinds of jokes, about, tackled any naked men lately, and, what would have been near your face when you tackled him and all that. And, but it was a pretty funny and interesting story. Another point I'd like to mention is when something intense like that is happening, for one thing, you get tunnel vision. It's like you're not noticing all kinds of stuff on the side. It's like boom, like those blinders they put on a horse. You're focused on what's right in front of you, and it seems like everything is taking a long time. It seems like it's moving really, really slow. And I guess that's your brain's way of it turns everything into slow motion. The human brain is amazing, but the brain makes everything seem like it's really taking a long time. You come to find out later that what seemed like a long, long time was only so many seconds. Um, After the event happened, and I got to talking to my brother, and I said, yeah, remember I grabbed that leg and I pulled up a leg and took him off balance, and he said, no, you grabbed both legs and picked him off the ground. I was like, wow. Um, but I guess that's the story. The day that I was forced to tackle the naked man, I try not to make it a habit. I'm hoping the next time that they'll have some clothes on. But thanks for listening to my wild and crazy story. See you next time.